profound when you look at the earth and when you examine things in their natural order. Man, he really thought through it all, right? He really thought through it all. And there's nothing more perfect and a greater recognition of that than when femininity and masculinity comes together, right? Inside of a household and begins to raise children. You really do see that when you are in a marriage, how perfect it all is, how our instincts are different. Men are never going to be women. Women are never going to be men. Our instincts are different. Nothing will make you more aware of that than having children. My goodness. Men and infants, what are you? You guys just don't know what you're doing for the first couple of months. What's wrong? It's crying. What's happening? Have you tried feeding the baby? Eating food? And I laugh at these things because I have these moments, and for example, where I live in Tennessee, we have tornadoes. So when you live in a city that has tornadoes, there are these really loud alarms that go off. It's quite scary when you experience the first time. And that just means to go underground, right? A tornado is about to hit. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's pretty scary if you're not from the South. I just remember these alarms going off in the middle of the night, and me and my husband, you want to talk about just different instincts. I think my husband was just going to go run and beat up the tornado. He was just going to go outside. Him and the security guards are like outside. I'm like, no, we have to get the children. Instantly stepping into this role of a woman as a nurturer, a man as a protector. And nobody planned this. We didn't have a rule. I'm yelling at him to get into the basement. You can't beat up a tornado, obviously. Get safe, get underground. And now we have a society that wants to pervert that wants to pervert divine femininity and divine masculinity, right? And it wants to pervert it in a variety of ways. With women, it encourages hyper femininity in different regards. What happens when something that is so beautiful. Yes, women, we are, of course, more emotional than men. Of course we are. Our instincts are different. The conversations that we have are different. The way that we like to communicate is different. And when an evil group of people want to pervert that, and they say, well, women, now you're voting, they know how to make women feel bad so that they vote in things that are extremely harmful, right? Women will feel bad and vote for things that are absolutely awful. And that is the truth. They've hijacked femininity and turned it into something that can be a weapon. And when they want men, and of course masculinity is great, you can also, of course, have an extreme of that. When you're separating this, when you're separating that perfect yin and the yang, and great evil can happen, right? When male aggression is not trained in the right way, when male aggression isn't being used for things like to defend your family, right? To defend what you have created at home. And so when I look around and I see all of these things, and of course for all of us it feels so chaotic, but none of these topics are different. In fact, what they all have in common, transgenderism, feminism, climate change, what they all have in common is they are an attack on the family. That is what this is about. So you revisit, the girl that's skipping school because she thinks the planet's going to be over in 10 years, and you recognize that what they are telling these kids is that it is irresponsible to start families because of the planet. This is a real thing. They quite literally gave an award to Harry and Meghan, one of these climate change groups, gave an award to Prince Harry and Meghan for agreeing to only have 2 kids to preserve the planet. This is the logic of it. It's anti-family. When you looked at BLM's charter, one of the first things they had listed was that they wanted to abolish the nuclear family, right? It's constantly about division. When you even take a look at COVID, what were the encouragements? Get away from your family. You would be such a hero if you don't visit your relative when they're dying. You're such a good person if you don't care about your family, right? The only way to care about your family, they were telling us, is not to care about them at all, right? So nice to allow grandparents to die by themselves, right? I mean, what lunacy. Why do they want everyone to be homosexual? Why do they want these kids to keep picking a letter? Because what a great guard against family. You sterilize yourself before you even have a brain developed. You sterilize yourself if you're on puberty blockers. 2 lesbians, well, if you want to have a kid, you're going to have to turn to the state. 2 men, 2 homosexuals, well, if you want to have a child, you too are going to have to turn to the state, right? The state assumes so much power in our lives when you are able to break down the family unit. This is why they are shouting at normalcy. They've also created a word for that. Heteronormative. That's what the kids are learning in school. This is heteronormative when they try to insult you. Oh yes, I'm heteronormative. I believe that men and women should get married and they should have children, okay? We're not going to make these basic biological things something dirty and perverse. But give it a few years and they will. Of course they will. They'll be saying it's bizarre. They want to have normal families. Bizarre. Conspiracy theory that men and women should be married. Such a conspiracy theory, right? And so you see these attacks that are happening at all angles. You understand why they're polluting women's minds in school to believe that the patriarchy is everywhere because it fosters a resentment in men. They're perverting dating. They're making men afraid to ask a woman on the date. Because what if she's a feminist, right? Suddenly it's a sexual assault to say, I think you look beautiful today, right? And by the way, then you have a bunch of women complaining, oh, there's no men. Men don't ask us on dates, right? Constantly polluting normal relationships, pretending that normal is wrong, pretending that abnormal is normal. And so the only defense that we have against this thing, right? And I am so optimistic because I have cracked the code, you guys. Allow yourself to be called a name. I'm gonna give you basic elementary advice. We're taking it all the way to kindergarten. I don't know if you guys have kindergarten, 1st grade. Get very scared on the first day of school, right? You're like, I don't want anybody to be mean to me. I don't want to be bullied. I don't want to be called a name. Embrace the names. I've been called all of them. I personally now consider it a game. I've got to catch them all, right? Like Pokemon. Every day another article. Bizarre conspiracy theory. Bizarre. Candice Owen is an anti-vaxxer. She's a conspiracy theorist. She's a white supremacist. I promise you, they've said that. They've said it. There is no bottom to their stupidity. They have said it. She's a homophobe, she's a transphobe, she's anti-this, she's an internalized misogynist. I've been called an internalized misogynist. And of course, calling me every other anti-name that there is. But I'm not anti-this or anti-that. I'm anti-stupidity. That's it. And so the way that we advance as a society is by not allowing them to call us names, not allowing them to gaslight us, not allow them to believe that we need to pledge our allegiance to some politically correct club. Political correctness is killing us, okay? Political correctness is a weapon that is being used against us to get us to submit to all of these narratives. There's nothing wrong with having a national identity. Of course, you should have a national identity. Of course, we should be allowed to have a national identity. There's something about that that's backwards or racist or wrong. There's only backwards and racist and wrong if you are a globalist and you are looking to subjugate all of humanity. I know I'm way out of time here, but all of this to say, you guys, please protect your psyche and do not allow them to use fear as a way to manipulate you against the obvious. And it is obviously okay for us to have an identity. Thank you guys so much for having me.
We are now, please join me. Please join me on these bar stools that we have somewhere. And let's invite the feared, admired, appreciated, and much adored Pearl Davis on stage. Thank you very much, Pearl. Welcome. So, it's probably best if you take. Need this this chair actually. We have one chair too many.
Hi guys. Thank you all for having me. This is like especially special because, you know, Candice, you're one of the reasons I'm conservative actually. I grew up like watching you, so this is super cool.
Thank you.
And it's even cooler because my sister's a psychology major and she's with me today.
There are good psychologists, I definitely said that, right?
So I'm curious, what do you guys think is the best way to fight the globalist agenda?
Well, I mean, I think today is a great moment fighting it. I think coming together like this, having a great friend from America and from London, you're originally from America but you live in London right now, over and building the alliance in this way is going to mean a lot. And I just saw on the live stream we have 2,000 additional viewers today, so we're really reaching a significant audience. And that's the way to go forward. We're really going to spread the word, and that's happening right now.
Yeah, and I would just add to that basically everything that I've said today about not being afraid to be called a name, and it's very important to double and to triple down on the truth, because the power is in their ability to gaslight people and to make them fearful that they won't be welcome into polite society if they don't accept the terms of the globalist agenda. And I'm very happy not to accept the terms of the globalist agenda.
That's a great point.
On masculinity.